it's spring, it's growing time, it's coming out of the darkness, it's perhaps the end of our COVID restrictions as we've known them. How do we help young people? Generally, before this happened, world was already quite stressful for them. There's so much peer pressure to compete, to be the best. There's so much dysfunctional family stuff going on in terms of marriages not staying together, foundations of your adult relationships not being very solid. How do we help young people now after this one whole year of being at home, not connected to other people, suffering in their own minds, building up a kind of backlog or a stockroom of anxious feelings and depressive feelings? We need to address this in a massive way. Back in the shed with Ben at Wider Horizons, we're just going to have a chat about the journey, what's on the horizon and where Ben started. Most excitingly, I think, is that we've collaborated along with a lot of other facilitators at his Spring Equinox event. So I'll be running a workshop at that on the 21st of March, which is really stretching me out of my comfort zone. Although I've run workshops and stuff, I still feel it's a bit of a, so I'm really looking forward to that. I'll be delivering a message about how to access antidepressants and the calming benefits of nature. But there's other stuff on the horizon and there's a big journey to talk about. So Ben, where did this all start? And perhaps you should just encapsulate what Wider Horizons is, in first instance, for new people to the channel.
Well, Wider Horizons is gatherings in nature for young adults to inspire young adults through connection to spirit that is kind of discovered by being in a community, living in community in nature. So we have gone online since the pandemic began, which has been a strange journey really to try to continue Wider Horizons, which is something that's really appealed to nature lovers, the people who aren't really generally that into being on Zoom. So I mean, it's been the same interesting kind of experience for me, you know, like, but you know, we are based in nature and we're returning to nature we have a summer gathering in person planned at Wasing Park, which will be from the 19th of June to the 21st of June for summer solstice. And actually the announcements, you know, that came from the government that social distancing is going to end on the 21st of June. So it could be quite amazing. We'll be in this gathering where we're going to have to socially distance for the first.
Suddenly, we don't have. And
to. We'll be able to hug. It'll be like.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be like, I don't know. It'd be kind of like, I don't know what.
I think it will give people a very overwhelming feeling of how strong their emotions can be about what it feels, what connection actually does to your chemical makeup, what it does to your brain, how happy, because I'll be like, oh, I think it will just last for days how happy that big hug will make people feel, if I can imagine it now.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, at the same time, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that everyone's going to hug. Some people don't like hugging, and that's totally cool as well.
Yeah.
Make anyone feel pressured. Like, I think a big part of Wider Horizons is kind of that we encourage kind of respecting people's personal space and asking to hug before you hug. Otherwise, people can feel kind of uncomfortable about saying no, and actually they're not comfortable hugging. So.
Yeah. Personal boundaries is a massive thing, which I saw when I went on a course at the equine facilitated therapy course, which I was interested in because I was suffering from trauma effects. I was sure of it, and I was just Googling online and I saw how this someone who'd been in the army was hiding himself under a kitchen table, barricading himself in, and he couldn't function because he had such bad post-traumatic stress disorder. And he had gone to this horse retreat, you know, to be treated by somebody who could use horses to help him get better and control his emotions, because he couldn't even be in the housing benefits office without, if someone slammed the door, he would just explode, and then he's like thrown out and he can't get it off. So the work with horses was incredible, but I just saw that we had to do an exercise about checking where people's personal boundaries stand, and I was partnered up with a woman who the exercise taught, I won't go into detail too much, but the exercise taught us to just watch at certain points how the person is reacting. And I couldn't really get very close to her. I could see that her body was, really tensing up, because her personal boundaries had been totally smashed all over the place all her life. She'd let them be. But when someone actually saw and respected them, she broke down in tears. So I think that's a really valid point, and a really important point for children and young adults to understand, and how to communicate where their boundaries are and how to understand where they are.
Yeah, it's just too easy to just assume that everyone's comfortable hugging, and some people are absolutely not at all comfortable with hugging.
No.
For one reason or another.
No. My mum, for example, doesn't like a big hug. But tell us more about what's the dynamics of the event? So, for example, on June the 21st, what's the format? How many people do you think will be there? What music? What activities?
Well, that will be outside, so we'll be in nature. So there'll be music around the fire. We kind of we don't really have kind of concerts and stages, so it's more kind of jamming, and really good musicians come and will play around the fire. I mean, last time we gathered that Ways and Nick Mulvey was there playing around the fire every night. So it's that kind of music, campfire, and there'll be workshops on kind of connecting with nature, meditation, ways you can help protect nature, sort of sacred activism, the kind of ideas around healing ourselves in order to heal the world, because it's all one, and at the same time doing what we can to help protect nature is also as a way of healing ourselves, making us feel that we are able to help and able to have agency and have an effect on the things going on in the world which cause us to suffer, to feel sad. So it's kind of empowering. So yes, that's the kind of two-way process of sacred activism, changing ourselves to change the world, and changing the world to change ourselves. That's our take on it anyway. And actually, I prefer to call it sacred action than sacred activism. Sacred activism sounds like a kind of planning meeting, whereas sacred action is really doing something within our beings.
Yeah. And it's also the action can be subtle. It can just be respecting yourself by treating yourself better, respecting nature and the world by making some decisions to treat it better as well, and support things that will help change the direction of, reverse of growth, which what we're all witnessing at the moment. So that's cool. So how long will it be? 2 days?
Well, no, it'll probably be 4 days, because the summer solstice is at sort of around 4 in the morning on the Monday morning, so the kind of Sunday night. So I think we'll be up all night, I imagine, on Sunday night. So hopefully people will be able to take Mondays off for the celebration of the solstice and the celebration of the end of social distancing.
Unbelievable.
Massive takeoff experiences coinciding there. And we'll kind of arrive on the Friday evening to begin. So it'll be 4 days.
So what were you doing? I'll tell you, because what I was doing with summer solstice last year is quite funny. What were you doing on summer solstice in June? It was just a little bit just before we opened up from the second lockdown, wasn't it?
Last year. I think I just had a quiet one. I think we were just at home, with as we went outside, me and my beloved wife.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I'll never forget mine, although I probably won't forget this one as well. But I drove a tractor for the first time, a massive John
Oh
Deere
yeah.
tractor. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got a video as well.
Right.
I was like, and I lay down in the evening going, summer solstice. I think I spent it quite well. And so that was really fun. I would recommend that activity to anyone. Perhaps we could get a tractor on site at one of the events one day. That puts you in control. And talking about farming and British countryside is another massive topic. I'm sure you've got people who are there to help people understand what we can do around agriculture and protection of the environment, like in that space as well, don't you? About food and.
Well, yeah, we've heard, absolutely, we've had people from Friends of the Earth coming. Actually, my brother, Danny, works for Friends of the Earth, and he was talking about the way that the policy of Britain at the moment to protect and conserve grasslands and moorlands by paying farmers subsidies to graze sheep on them in order to protect these wonderful habitats of grasslands is ridiculous, because it'd be better just to leave it to turn back into woodland. And there's no reason not to accept some sort of romantic idea about preserving some obscure butterfly species that's only evolved because of the agricultural revolution, which was about 5,000 years ago, when everybody started to do massive grazing, farmers to do massive grazing. But now it's no longer necessary because of the introduction of fertilizers. So sheep can actually live off a much smaller field. Not that these chemical fertilizers are great, but it's what farmers do. They don't want to send the sheep out onto the grasslands. You have to pay them to get them to do it. And the only reason they're doing it is to stop the grasslands turning back into woods. And actually, if it was woods, it'd be much better for the environment, much better carbon capture, and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's one of the workshops that we had at Wider Horizon.
A really interesting area, I think, because I also think for jobs in the future, I think agriculture and understanding how we can rework how we treat rural land is actually a growing area. And while loads of kids and young people will be thinking there's less jobs here, there, and everywhere, there are more jobs opening up in places like that. So that's cool stuff. Well, I'm personally really interested in that. But absolutely. Yeah, I'd love you to. Sorry.
I was just going to say it's great. Yeah, I think that's a lovely idea. If people come to Wider Horizons and have experiences and learn things that inspire them for the kind of work that they want to get involved in their lives, you know, that they can be kind of experienced almost like the receiving of a vision. Like, oh, now I
can do this. Yeah.
Well,
and I mean, you know, they're going to be rubbing shoulders with university professors anyway, like you. So, you know, it's like, it's probably, I can imagine it's just very free and carefree in a very open and relaxing space where you can forget everything. You can also possibly just suddenly have sudden realizations about what you need to do or what you want to do, and have some serious conversations about the direction of your life and stuff. So
exactly. And that kind of connects me, because I would like to talk a bit about our Spring Equinox.
Oh yeah.
Because we've been talking about the summer solstice gathering that we're going to have in person, but we've also got an online gathering coming up for the Spring Equinox, and the vision for that is really about that. What we're talking about is the kind of opportunity to experience visions. To kind of the reason being is that at the Spring Equinox, it's understood that the veil between the spirit world and the physical world is thinner, so it's an ideal time to receive visions, and in that way sort of find out what it is that you want to be doing with your life, and you know, some people might feel a sort of pressure, like I ought to know what my purpose is. I have to find out what my purpose in life is. And I, you know, my feeling about that is that it's kind of can just kind of create anxiety and put a lot of pressure on people to feel that. And I always think, you know, Great Spirit has a better plan for us than we know. You know, there's a joke, if you want to make the goddess laugh, tell her your plans. And so, you know, I think like this idea of receiving a vision is like, it's only actually in not knowing that you can be receptive and open to receiving a vision. So
it's like being innocent from all ego, like trying to feel completely innocent as just a living, breathing entity, and not think I should be doing this, or people would think this, or I'll think this of myself when I do this. It's like when you do get into a position where you can rest and get into that innocence and visualize. Well, visions can come to you, and it might just pop up. You know, what type of visualizations have you experienced during running Wider Horizons?
Well, visions we're talking about. Receiving.
Yeah, almost like receiving. Yeah, because I do these things in the morning where I go through a list of choices in my life, and then I take 2 of them and I think about what do I want to be happening in that area, and what is happening now, and then I create tension between the 2, and then try to go into this place of innocence where I'm not thinking about anything to do with, well, trying to let go of my ego, not let my ego drive my decisions, and see what comes. And sometimes things come just like, well, to almost like ask what's obvious, what's around me, what's available to me, what will make me happy. And sometimes things can be as plain as get a new sofa because it's really depressing, or it could be you know, someone's right underneath your nose that you should be talking to and spending time with, or there's a book that you know, you might just remember a book in that moment, and that will change the direction of your life. That's what I was kind of meant to sort of guided visualization, self-guided.
Well, we have an experience which is actually a kind of a rite of passage, kind of initiatory experience, which is actually a secret. So I can't tell you what happens. But,
when do you get to do it?
It happens kind of in the middle of the gathering at Wazing. So it's a vision quest, and it's about connecting with nature and listening to nature and hearing what nature is saying to you. You know, just opening, going into meditation, going into a receptive space where you're not asking for anything, you're not sort of praying in that sense of, oh, I would like this to happen, but you're just seeing what comes. And you know, it might be you hear a bird and the way it makes you feel, makes you connect to a thought, or you see a tree, or you know, it's subtle the way these visions come, and very unique and for each person.
So that went in a good direction then, because there's a secret to be uncovered when you come to go to Wazing for the in-person summer solstice event at the end of June. But this one online, while we're still locked down, with Spring Equinox, I'm looking forward to running a workshop there. I've seen a raft of amazing contributors covering a lot of different subjects. Like, would you want to highlight some of them? And then I'd love you to talk about where Wider Horizons came to you from, the idea.
Sure. Well, one of the workshops is on kind of yoga and the philosophy of yoga, and creating a daily practice, and that's being offered by Billy DeMello Wood, who's an incredible yoga teacher, but she's also talking about getting people to talk together about the way, what our ideas of around what the meaning of success is. and the way people may have an idea that's come into them that's to do with, you know, making lots of money, and because that gets put onto us, you know, like, don't blame yourself if that's the way you think, because that is rammed into our brain from the media every second. Every time we're out walking around, it's on the billboards, it's on the TV, you know, you should have money, you should have lots of money.
Yeah, and also there's a saying around, I've seen on social media, saying, if you're not hustling, you're not living. I'm like, why is it, who said that? how can you push that on people? Very judgmental. I think very harsh.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I know Billy, she's brilliant at Yoga Soup. Isn't she? She's lovely. And I noticed, I read her bio that she first started her meditation practice she did first meditation at 8 and then started learning properly and teaching at 18. So brilliant. That's cool. How are you for time? Do you want to just tell us this thing about the cross between the rainbow and your you know, that moment that you're in seminars and at university and you sort of hang on?
Yes. The other, I just want to tell you just about one other workshop first, which is being offered by Steve Taylor, Dr. Steve Taylor, who is teaching about the way altruism comes about through an experience of oneness. That when we know that we are one with everyone in the world, we want to be kind to them. So that's a really amazing workshop, and he's an amazing teacher. Yeah, and so what you were asking there, like, how did I come up? How did the vision of Wider Horizons come to me? Well, it's a long answer, but I'll condense it. Well, it's being in rainbow gatherings, being, you know, far away.
Sorry, could you say that again? Because I didn't hear it. Being in
rainbow gatherings, far away in nature, up in a mountain, in a temporary community. There's no shops, there's no nothing. So what you have, and what other people have is what they have. And so everyone just shares and gives because you just do. And that experience that I had myself of the way everyone looks after each other, so that when you don't need to think about looking after yourself anymore, because everyone's looking after you. All you need to think about is looking after others. And you can just trust and let go of the need to worry about yourself. And it's just amazing the way things drop away, like addictions, like, you know, you run out of tobacco and you don't need any tobacco.
You just let go. Trust that you'll be.
No coffee, there's no tea, and you just let go. And then maybe a cup of tea comes and you're like, oh, wow, you really appreciate it. You're so grateful because you're just in the middle of nature and there's nothing. So in a way, I wanted to come and share that with people through Wider Horizons. And also Wider Horizons comes and is funded by the Scientific and Medical Network, which is an organization of very experienced scientists, professors, and doctors who have a love for the spiritual as well, and who are studying the spiritual. And they are an amazing group who wanted to sort of they're quite a bit older, and they wanted to kind of really make sure they actually continue to exist by bringing more young people in, which is why that we kind of came up. I'm a member of the Scientific and Medical Network, and came up with the idea of Wider Horizons to kind of attract people into Wider Horizons and then into the Scientific and Medical Network, because there's just an amazing knowledge there. And do check the Scientific and Medical Network out. They have amazing webinars and conferences going on all the time. They have one coming up very soon on astral travel and journeying in spirit form, and sort of studies on that. And they have shamans speaking and people teaching and talking about dreams and astral traveling. So that'll be really amazing.
Yeah, I met a member of the group, Marilyn Monkhouse. Is that her name? Her surname. Yeah.
Marilyn.
I spent some time with her. She is your mum?
She's my
Oh,
mum.
how amazing. She's so lovely. I spent quite a long time, looked after her actually, for a while, late at night at one festival down at Waysinga. Didn't look after, as in she was looking for someone to walk her back home, so I walked her back home. We went back to the home farm. But we did a brilliant talk on consciousness. Really loved it, and I think that's a very important topic for people to have a look at. But I think the biggest word you just said there was trust and let go. And this is how I've helped some people who are close to me. The biggest word that they can say to themselves again and again and again is trust. You know, you've got to trust things will be okay, and things will be okay, because if you do trust and you do let go, nature is so strong and so powerful. You know, the way we can regenerate is remarkable. I mean, I talk about it actually at my workshop on Spring Equinox, but there's something on my YouTube channel I've talked about regeneration in a very basic way, a very relatable way. But trusting and letting go is huge. You spoke about when you had a seminar and no one put their hand up when you were at Greenwich University, and you kind of was like an aha, what is going on here moment? Why is no one sharing? Do you want to talk a tiny bit about that?
Yeah, it's partly what inspired me to create Wider Horizons. Then was that I was teaching at university, and I mean, maybe it's because I'm a really uninspiring teacher, but I don't think so. But I would ask questions to the group. It wasn't large. It was a very large seminar group. I mean, I think of seminar groups like 8 people. This was a seminar called a seminar, and it had 50 students in it. So I'd ask a question, and no one would put their hand up. No one would say anything, and it kept happening. Maybe it was partly to do with the fact that the group was too large. But I said to them, you know, why is it that it's quite often happening that no one speaks? But when I ask you guys a question to share and share ideas, and someone put his hand up and he said, look, listen, Mr. Gross, if I say my ideas here, everyone will copy them and put them in their essays. So that's why we don't speak. And I just thought, gosh, that is sad. The state of our society that is pitting everyone against each other, thinking, you know, I've got to compete with others in order to. Well, it's based on this kind of fear that there's a huge scarcity. There's a scarcity of jobs. There's a scarcity that the world is about to end. I mean, it's real. The worries about what's going on with the environment. This kind of fear-based way of living leaves people very alone and very separate. And in that place,
ridiculous to think that you've got some key ingredients coming up out of everyone's consciousness, and the collective genius that we all have. We're not going to all have the same ideas. We need to put them together. It's like, how could a lovely cake or a lovely delicious meal be cooked if one of the ingredients says, no, I'm not sharing my flavor with everyone else? Because I mean, that's the thing, the competitiveness today. It means that humanity can't move forward. I mean, it's not so drastic as that, but if everyone thought in that way about retaining their knowledge, which is not, it's not, your knowledge is everywhere, and if you've got some knowledge, you've also got some magic, which will, inspire a new creation. But it has to go with something else. It can't just go off on its own. I mean, I haven't put it very eloquently there, but I'm really, really passionate about living a life through fearless reciprocity and sharing what you know, and untapping what might have been told to you and locked into your DNA even, and be listening out about which conversations you might be able to move forward with something that not saying, no, I'm not going to say what I know because I want to put it on paper, which only one person will see. So I'm completely with you on that. Hope you can see that.
So the idea of Wider Horizons is to help people to feel connected and to feel a sense of belonging with others, and to want to give, to want to give. And that's a kind of, in a way, that's the transformation from child to adult. A child has every right to feel that they ought to be receiving, adults and parents will give to a child, but when the child becomes an adult, it's time to let go of the need to receive. It's time to give. Although, not to say that there's no receiving still to do with life is giving.
Yeah. But I mean, giving is one of the pillars of good mental health. And it's been, you know, there's been, not that all government reports are going to, the be all and end all, but there's a company called Foresights who are commissioned by the government to do a big study on what constitutes the ingredients for good mental health. And one of them is giving. It's really important that we know how to give. But the other thing is that you don't give anything. How are you supposed to receive anything? And how are you supposed to feel that feeling of connection, which makes you feel good?
Exactly. It's funny. That's great the way you explain it. It's like you could see the non-vicious cycle. It's a loving cycle, isn't it? That the more you give, the more you feel connected, and the more you feel connected, the more you give.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lovely, perfect way to end. Well, it's not an end. It's just going to keep going, just like you just said. We'll chat to you again soon. Hope you have a lovely afternoon. Is there anything you'd like to say as a closing statement?
Well, I just want to say, come along everyone to the Ostara Spring Equinox online gathering. Great chance to connect with a community of nature lovers. Even though we're online, we are nature, and we are connecting through this incredible medium of computers, because we are actually one in the non-physical reality that is the real reality, and we are connected. And so when we're here looking at each other in a computer in this moment, it's now, we are one. We are nature, and we are one. So we've got, and this
is this interbeingness, not just I, it's all of us.
We've got some great workshops, great music, and it's donation. And donations also go to charity. They go to the Earth Community Trust and to the Social Change Nest, two great organisations. So please do donate to support all of us, the Wider Horizons contributors. And
Thank you. Thanks so much. I have a fundraising page which I'll post under here, and I will post the Wider Horizons fundraising page as well. And it was lovely talking to you. I hope all that listen share this with younger adults and children they know. It's also a very useful resource for parents of children of all ages. So please share the word, and let us know if you want to come and talk to us too.